guys, Jen here. Welcome to the Dream Life or Bust channel, where I show you how to take the tools you already have at your disposal, your mind, your intuition, and the law of attraction to create the dream life that you've always wanted for yourself. So I wanted to talk to you today about a really, really important thing that most people get wrong when it comes to manifesting. So you may have heard, if you've seen the movie The Secret, or if you've been paying attention to law of attraction stuff for a while now, you may have heard the phrase act as if. And this is a very, very important piece of the whole manifestation puzzle that most people get wrong. So in my opinion, acting as if isn't necessarily the best way to describe what it actually is that you have to do. So I like to say it as acting in faith of receiving. So basically, acting as if is that you are going to take actions with the faith and the belief and the trust that if you do the actions, that you will receive the thing that you're asking for, that you will get the result, that you'll get the manifestation if you just keep taking the actions in faith that that receiving is coming to you. So I like to look at it like that. But the thing about acting as if that people always get wrong is that they think they can just do anything, but that they don't have to actually have any risky actions happening. So this is super important because if you think you want something and then you think, oh, I'm going to ask the universe to send me whatever. So let's say you want, I don't know, $1,000 or something. I want $1,000. Well, you can't just sit on your couch and ask for $1,000 and then start playing video games and just expect that $1,000 is going to show up. You have to actually do something to receive it. Now, that's not to say that you can't receive things without taking action, because you absolutely can, especially if you've already embodied the identity of being the person who already receives those things. And identity is a whole other topic, which I'll talk about in another video. I want to kind of stay focused on this one so that I don't make this video too long. But the idea is that you can't just do random stuff or do really simple stuff and think that that's enough. You have to be very strategic about the actions that you're taking, but then you also have to do things that are going to put skin in the game. This is super, super important, because if you don't have any skin in the game when it comes to the things you're manifesting, it's very unlikely that they're going to actually show up for you. Now, this depends on if you have resistance to certain things. So maybe you have no resistance to $1,000 coming in, and so then it just comes in with ease. But most people have resistance to money. They have resistance to the things that they actually desire to have. And so that resistance actually pushes the things away. But you can move past that resistance, and you can actually start to create more confidence and belief and faith in yourself and in the universe by taking actions that are skin in the game. And that's what acting as if really is. So for example, when I quit my day job back in 2012, so in March of 2012, I basically made the decision that I didn't care. The fact that I didn't have any money saved up, I didn't care about the fact that I didn't know what I was going to do if I quit my job. I just knew that I had gotten to a place where I was done. I just couldn't do what I was doing anymore. I couldn't keep working for somebody else, doing a shitty day job that I didn't care about, that was just not anything that was, making me feel good and making me happy. I was just miserable. And so I just knew, this is it. I have to make this decision right now that I'm going to quit my job. So immediately after making that decision, deciding this is it, I'm quitting my job, I started to take skin in the game actions. So first, it was very basic stuff. So the first thing was I just went to my desk and I started to clear out all my personal stuff, because I wanted to send the message to the universe that I was very, very committed to quitting my job. And I set a date. So I picked the date May 9th. That was my quit date originally. I was like, that's it. This is my quit date. That's when it's happening. I don't care. I'm making it happen. And so I put the quit date and I cleaned my desk out. And those are two really good act as if actions, because if you knew you were quitting your job, you would definitely have a date and you would definitely clear out your desk, because you know you don't need that stuff there anymore. However, those are not skin in the game actions. So those are things that send that message, I believe this is going to happen. They're little things that you can start doing. However, the real manifestation comes through when you start to take actions that put skin in the game. So what I did after that was I actually wrote up my quit notice. So I wrote my 2-week notice statement thing that I had to send to my boss. I wrote it up, but then I actually sent it to her. So that is crazy, I know, because I wasn't even close to being 2 weeks away from quitting my job, but I just decided, you know what? I'm going to let her know that this is happening. So I wrote up the note, I sent it to her. And that actually was a skin in the game action that I didn't even realize was a skin in the game action at the time. But then all of a sudden, it just magic started to happen around me. So not only was my boss completely like on board for me making this huge leap, but then within a couple of days of making that decision that this was it, I'm quitting my job, and then, putting that notice in, I ended up finding out that I had a 401k account that had $12,000 in it, which I had totally forgot about. So I hadn't been putting any money in it over the last few years. At that time, it was sort of something I'd done in my career earlier on because I just, oh, that's what you're supposed to do, save money in your 401k. So that's what I did, but then I totally forgot about it. And so after I made that decision that this is it, I'm done and I'm quitting this job, and then I put my notice in, I actually ended up getting that statement in the mail. And it's so funny because I thought, I have never received this statement before. Like, they've never sent me a statement in the mail. And the thing is, maybe they hadn't, but maybe they had, and I just wasn't open to seeing that as a possibility at the time. And so I just never really paid attention to it. But once I quit my job, it became front and center for me. Hey, Jen, you have $12,000 at your disposal that you can use to make a living, until you figure out what you're going to do now. So I called the company. I found out what I needed to do. I ended up closing the account down. I took the tax penalty. So there's like a 20% tax penalty if you take the money out before you're retired or whatever. So I took that. I think I ended up with like a little over $9,000. And I used that money to support me in paying bills and taking care of what I needed to take care of until I could get my business going enough where I was making money on top of that. So without quitting the job, so not just making the decision and then doing the little things like, clearing out my desk or, putting the date on the calendar and saying this is when it's happening, but that I actually took that skin in the game risk and sent my note to my boss to let her know that I'm on my way out the door. I'm quitting. This is it for me. Well, that is the skin in the game action that showed the universe that I am fucking serious about this, that there is no other option at this point. This is what's happening for me. So the fact that it happened so quickly after that is just the proof that manifestation comes when you take the actions that put a little bit of skin in the game. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to do what I did. Of course, you don't have to do that. What I did is actually pretty insane, and most people would never do that. But for me, that was the best next step, and I knew that, and that's why I took the action in faith of receiving that I would figure out what to do and that I would eventually make money on my own through my business and that I wouldn't have to work another job ever again. Which 6 years later, here I am working full-time for myself still and never needing another job again. So it's fantastic. And that was the starting point for me. Anytime I've wanted to manifest something, whether it's, quitting my job or making some extra money or whatever, desire I had in the moment, anytime it actually manifested and actually showed up for me, it came down to the fact that I was doing skin in the game actions. So you can't do things where there's no risk. The universe needs to know you're serious. It needs to know that you not only believe in yourself, but you believe that you can have this thing that you desire, that it is yours and that it's out there for you. And in order to bring it to you, you have to make that leap of faith and prove that you believe this, that you know that this is happening for you. And you just have to do whatever you can do from where you are right now. So maybe for you, putting your notice in and quitting your job is not the best action because you're just at a place where the uncertainty and the, just what would happen if you quit without having money saved or without knowing where you're going to get money from after that, it would just be too much for you and it would take you down and you'd end up right back where you are right now, which is, in your job that you don't like. So that would have been a bad skin in the game action for you, but you can think of other stuff that you could do. So like I said, clearing out your desk. Well, clearing out your desk is a pretty good sign that you're not planning on being there much longer. I mean, that's a pretty good sign, I would say, to everyone around you, as well as to the universe that, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm over it and I'm not going to do this anymore. So you have to think about where you are. Now, this is not about taking stupid risks. So don't take this message that way because I'm not telling you to take a stupid risk. Quitting your job when you don't know what you're going to do and you don't have money saved up is pretty fucking stupid. But for me, it was the right move and I knew that and I felt the action inspired inside and I just knew that this was the time that I needed to do this. And for me, that was the right action. It's not the right action for everybody. So you really have to ask yourself, with whatever it is you're manifesting, first of all, do you want it that bad that you're willing to do whatever it takes? That's the first thing. The second thing is, do you have any skin in the game currently? So maybe you want something, but you haven't really done a whole lot to, take some action on it. Well, that's fine, but now is the time to start thinking about what could you be doing to show the universe that you are serious about what you're asking for. So think about this. Maybe you want to journal on it or, meditate a little bit, but just really spend some time thinking about what actions could you take that would put a little bit of skin in the game. So skin in the game, if you're not familiar with this phrase, is just meaning risk. So it's a little bit of a risk, or it's something that's outside your comfort zone that you're doing to show the universe that you're ready for more, that you are ready for a change, that you're ready to, have the thing that you're asking for show up for you. So hopefully this helps you. I would love to hear from you guys if this is helpful for you, and if you have questions, definitely let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to clarify anything for you. But my message for you today is to just take whatever actions you feel inspired to take when it comes to manifesting your desire, but also be willing to take the actions that are a little bit riskier. Again, being very, not saying take stupid risks. That's not at all what it is, but you have to be strategic about the risks that you take. So you have to do it knowing that you can handle whatever happens on the other side of that risk. So for me, having my day job, working that job for somebody else and being so miserable was actually worse for me than the uncertainty and the, unknowns of quitting my job and trying to figure out what to do with my business. That was actually a better positive emotion for me than staying where I was in my job. So if you've ever watched Abraham Hicks videos, she talks about that moving up the emotional scale. So if you're somewhere where you're angry or you're pissed off or whatever, then you can't just jump to joy immediately because it's too far of a leap for you. So you have to sort of move yourself there a little at a time. So in that case, if you're angry, then being pissed off is actually slightly better than being angry. So even though there's still similar emotions, there's still a different feeling and a different vibration that comes with that anger that isn't quite there with the feeling pissed off. And then you just go up from there. So for me, having my day job be such a miserable, shitty place for me, and I had done multiple jobs. So it's not like this was one job that I just could have left and done something else. I had done this over and over for 7 years, realizing that this is just not going to work for me. I'm just not normal. I'm not status quo. I'm not willing to settle for a mediocre job or a mediocre career. And that was basically what I was doing. And so for me, the feeling of going to that job every day and having to do all this work that I didn't care about and that didn't fill me up or fulfill me, that didn't make me feel passionate, it was worse than all of the uncertainty and the fear of quitting my job and not knowing where I was going to go from there. It was actually worse. So for me, that was moving up the emotional scale was, okay, here's my shitty job that I hate that makes me feel like my soul is dying every day. And then here's one level up, uncertainty and fear and all of that, but still better than where I'm at. So for me, that was the right next move. And so you just have to think about this stuff and think about where you're at and what can you do right now to start taking action in the direction that you want to go, putting as much skin in the game action as you possibly can, being strategic about it. So again, you're not being stupid risky. You're not doing stuff that's completely insane unless you know for a fact that you can handle what's on the other side of that risk. And if you know for a fact that you are in a place emotionally where you can deal with it and you won't freak out and you won't panic, that you'll just be able to deal with it, then you're okay. You can take riskier actions. And that's kind of how I am. I like to take insane actions because for me, I know that the insane skin in the game, like massive skin in the game actions are the things that always make the dream happen much faster. But again, you have to be strategic. So you have to do what works best for you. You have to do what feels best to you and just gradually get yourself there. So maybe in the beginning, again, just going back to my example here of quitting your job, maybe in the beginning, it's something simple. You just choose a date. You write out your quit letter, but you don't send it yet. You clear out your desk so that the universe knows you are ready for something more. You do these little things, and then as you build up that confidence and that trust that this is going to happen for you, then you can take bigger risks and put more skin in the game. But don't think that you can just want something, sit there, do bare minimum stuff, and think that it's going to show up for you, because most of the time, that's not the case. So yeah, that might happen on occasion when you have something that you just have zero resistance to. So you want it, but you don't want it so badly that you're like, oh, if I don't get it, I'm going to be upset and it's going to ruin my life. So in that case, you don't even need skin in the game actions because it's going to manifest just because you don't have that resistance to it. But when it comes to our bigger dreams and the things we know that we feel called to do in our soul, that stuff needs more time and it needs more of a period of just gradually getting yourself to that point, but then it also requires the skin in the game actions. So that is it for me today. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I would love to hear from you in the comments if it helped you, if you had any ahas that came up as I was sharing all of this. And I would just love to know, what are you manifesting right now, and what is one skin in the game action that you could take that could move you in that direction? So share it in the comments, and I'll catch you guys next time.